from a weekend of fun.
Really gonna have to channel my energy here on this Monday.
Yeah, how are
It's
you
great.
feeling on today on this Monday? Fine
I
Monday.
I actually I don't feel bad at all, but um, for those of you that didn't know, I had my bachelor party this weekend, which Kevin was at, and I'm not hungover at all. Um, but I just had one of those days for some reason that was like everything went wrong. I don't know why,
Welcome back.
but
Happy
it's fine.
Monday.
It's fine.
I can kind of relate to that. This morning, actually, I had to go to the eye doctor because I've been having an eye issue, and I had my follow up appointment this morning. And
Yeah.
I was driving there, trying to get there, and there was an accident on Lakeshore Drive. Light poles were like on the ground, and then I tried to pull into the parking lot. There's a light pole blocking that, and I was like 10 minutes late to my appointment. But when I walked in, the lady who actually worked there, not the doctor, but like the I don't even know what they're called, but like it's the person who does the actual like vision tests before the doctor sees you. Um,
Sure. Like a tech or something.
yeah, she was like 10 minutes late too. We walked in at like the same time. It was right when they opened, and so yeah, I think I think the world was just off today. It
It
was a
was.
happy Monday for everybody.
I started off the day with one, I was late, and two, I was trying to make my oatmeal and it just spilled, it just overflowed and went all over the microwave like first thing this morning. I was like, all right, this is not
Back to
going well.
reality.
And I probably had about 10 other things happen to me today. But anyway, we're here, we're live, we're positive, and we had a great weekend. So
Let's before we go into the question of the day, because question of the day relates to our second topic. Let's talk about the weekend. Just recap what we did, celebrating you, obviously. But let's tell the fine people of Twitch and wherever you're listening how much fun we had.
what we did,
Yeah,
we had a great time. I won't go into all the nitty gritty details, but it wasn't anything crazy. But I will say, my friends made sure that I had a good time. I will say that. So we went to dinner Friday. Everybody got in. We watched a lot of basketball.
big basketball. All the
Huge basketball weekend.
conference tournaments were all going on. Shout out to my Illini, Big Ten tournament champions.
Huge shout out to the line. We'll talk more about them later. But I think I didn't really intend for that to be part of the weekend, but it just kind of like
Just
worked out
naturally
perfectly. It
naturally
was
worked
like
itself in.
all the things that I really enjoy and that I want to do on a normal basis all happened in the same weekend. So it was a
Yeah,
great weekend.
yeah, it was all good. All
Like watched sports, drank beer and bourbon, and hung out with all of my favorite people pretty much. At least all my people of the same gender.
except your dad. Your dad wasn't there, but we were
Well,
on the
yeah.
phone with your dad for a while. He definitely was able to talk to some of us, so that was fun. But yeah, I mean, it was a great weekend. I mean, like you said, Friday is just kind of hanging out casually, just getting too drunk with your friends, and
Yep.
then Saturday was like the main festivities, touring the bourbon distillery and
Yep.
tastings and all that. I mean, I between drinking like the high wine and the white whiskey and then just all the other tastings that we did, I feel like yesterday my throat was just so sore because of all the like high percentage alcohol we drank, and my
Yeah.
body's just not used to that.
Yep.
But it was fun. I've always been a bourbon fan since really like when I turned 21. I just kind of forced myself to start drinking whiskey.
Yep.
And I mean, at first I hated it. I think everybody hates it when you first start, but once you start kind of getting into the nicer stuff, and then you realize, okay, yeah, this is pretty good.
I think the difference is, and for those that don't really drink bourbon or don't really like it, I think the difference for me was going to do something like that, like a tasting, because when you put a few next to each other and you have somebody that's knowledgeable on like what you should be tasting, like specifically there, and we did the one that really changed it for me was when we did it with I did a bourbon tasting with my dad, our neighbor Bruce, and my brother and Tim, and like you can actually taste different flavors and
Hmm.
things in the bourbon. Now, if you're just like drinking one kind of bourbon and that's the only thing you've ever done, it's really hard to differentiate. But when you have several like cups like that, and you can taste multiple different ones, you can taste the difference. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think one
So
thing too that was really, it kind of like pulled all that together for me was when we were at Woodford, and shout out to JP because that
JP's
man
sweet.
knows more about whiskey than I'll ever know about anything.
Oh my god.
Um, but he was just kind of like giving us a guided tasting essentially, and he said he was like, it doesn't matter who you are, if you're a bourbon aficionado or not, your first sip is always just going to be terrible because
Hmm.
your body has to adjust to
There's a
the,
shock on your palate or
yeah,
something like that.
I
Like
think he
your
said it's
palate has to
all the
adjust.
ethanol that's in it, your body has to adjust to it. So it's like you could have a sip of bottom shelf Evan Williams that's they use in like a college bar, or you can have
Hmm.
like a $200 bottle of whiskey. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. The first sip is just gonna suck, and you can,
It's like it's with your nervous system.
yeah, like there's no
Yeah.
getting around that, and that kind of
Hmm.
made me feel a little bit better about like sometimes when I first start drinking whiskey, I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. But then like
Uh-huh.
then your body's acclimated and you're enjoying it. So
Hmm.
he was like, there's no you can't compare whiskeys when you're drinking the first one. You have to just kind of sip it, swish it around in your mouth, get your mouth activated or acclimated to it, and then
Hmm.
you actually start to enjoy the flavors. And I definitely, I never thought of it that way. And so having
Hmm.
that as like a guide, I think was really interesting because I think it really just gave me an even more deeper appreciation for what the actual drinks were.
Hmm. It gives you an appreciation, especially when you leave here and you start to accumulate, more of a. I've started to kind of get a collection a little bit going, and yeah, that's cool. That's interesting. You picked up on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. All three were pretty cool. They were all like very different. I felt like the Three Boys was like on one extreme, like very rural,
Yes.
like a very rural distillery, like a farmhouse basically, and we had
It
I
was
don't
a
I don't even know how
it
many
was
we had.
a hand built shed that they had put together as their tasting room, and Shannon behind the bar just
Shannon
slinging drinks.
slinging them, didn't
And
even care.
no, I mean she was hysterical. She knew what she was talking about, but it was a different feeling. It was like a
We were drinking straight from the bunghole.
yeah, yes. It was yeah.
We were
That
drinking
was
straight from the barrel. For those that don't know, but they call it a
yes.
bunghole. I didn't know
The
that. I don't
hole
know if
in
that's
the
actually
side of the
real or if that was a
barrel
joke.
is the bunghole. So
Yeah,
we made some fun drunken
that was
20-year
the
old
joke the rest of the
drinks
night.
or jokes about that. Um, but yeah, like that was like you said, that was just kind of like one side of it, and then the Woodford distillery is just like what you would expect out of a
Woodford Reserve,
like a brand like Woodford Reserve that is so established. And I mean,
professional
yeah,
almost.
I
But
mean,
like Kevin, did you feel like you really got like a good picture of like I wouldn't Kentucky is considered southern. I think it's more of a Midwest southern because
I agree with
Kentucky's
that.
really not that far south.
Yeah,
But did you gain a little bit more of an appreciation for like there's such a stereotype and I've had so more context. Almost all my friends are like from Chicago area and I've grown up with people
yeah,
from Chicago area but also have family in the South. So like there's such a stereotype with southern people and just being dumb and redneck and all that stuff. And did you gain more of an appreciation? It's like JP was a great example because JP definitely looked like a redneck, but
hmm.
that man was smart as a freaking whip when it came to bourbon.
That man knew
So
exactly
knowledgeable,
what he was talking about. I'll tell you what, I mean,
articulate too,
he was
even though he
talking
has a
about
southern accent.
the USS Constitution and how it's made like out of oak and like the viscosity of oak. And I'm like, dude, what? How did like what?
Yeah,
And Matt, not you, Matt, but the other Matt asked a
yeah.
great question. He's just said like, how do you get into doing this? Like, if you don't mind
Hmm.
asking, or don't mind me asking. And he said he's like that's just something that like that's culture around here. It's pretty much everybody in Kentucky, at least in that area.
Grew up with it.
Yeah, like in Bourbon
It's always
County,
around.
yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
You're just
You,
kind of in it.
you know what I found interesting was he was saying, what was it? Maker's Mark used to just put old barrels down by the street,
Yeah,
old used barrels, and people around the area used to just go pick them up and they use it for stuff on their farms
Yeah,
and
collect rainwater in them and all kinds of stuff.
which is so crazy because now that would be such like they cost probably $300 or so just to get an old used barrel.
Well, I
So
think they said
that'd be sweet.
when we were at James Pepper, which was the first distillery we went to. I think they said a new barrel is like $300 to $400, and then they can resell them for like 140. So it's like
Yeah.
now that definitely doesn't happen because I mean they can
Hmm.
pretty much cover half their cost on the barrels just by reselling them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean just the fact that you're able to go in and grab something from off the road and actually use it for a functional purpose. Like even just that is the tie-in from the distillery to the surrounding area in the neighborhood.
And it brings you a lot of context for like what the culture is around here and how bourbon and horse racing and things like that are all tied in together. That's why you see like that's why I really like I've never imagined I live in Lexington, but that's what I really like about the culture and the environment around here because there's a lot of charm with those specific things with bourbon and horse racing.
Yeah,
And it's been here for hundreds of I don't know, couple hundred
what
years
I
or
thought was
whatever.
really cool was when we were driving to, I think it was specifically when we were going to Woodford. Gary,
Hmm.
who is our awesome tour guide and bus
Gary, he
driver,
deserves a
shout
shout
out to
out as well.
Gary and the Bourbon Excursions. If you ever want to do the Bourbon Trail, look up Bourbon Excursion. They're based out of Louisville. But yeah, look up Gary because he does a good job. But he said, he's like, yeah, we're 2 farms away from where American Pharoah is the stud, and he's like, it's just all horse country down here, and I mean, you're going through horse farms, and he said the lady's farm who we were driving through, I mean, just there's so much land, it's you're
Hmm.
driving through people's farms because that's just how it is there.
Hmm.
I think he said that she's worth, I mean, multi-millions of dollars, and she never married, doesn't have a family, just has horses, and that's what she
Hmm.
does. And it's just the horse
That's it.
country is insane. And I never really thought about how close in proximity the distilleries are to all the farms, but like literally, our
They're
tasting
in the farms, essentially.
at Woodford Reserve was in like just the other side of the street of the horse farm, and like
Yeah.
literally when we were tasting whiskey, I was watching a horse take a massive piss just across the road,
Yeah.
and
It's the there's such a close tie between the
yeah,
two. Yeah.
gives you
Yeah,
new
it's kind of
gives
it's
you new
fascinating.
appreciation.
Well, one of my favorite things that I tell people about around here is that in like my territory for my actual job, like I drive through a lot of that, and there's such pretty just rolling hills and all the fences, and they have, I mean, there's some property that like these people have barns that are double the size of the house that I mean,
Well,
just
and
absolutely mind blowing
one thing that I
barns, and they'll
noticed,
have 5 of them.
yeah, one thing that I noticed right away was that they clearly put all of their money into the horses because
Absolutely.
you see the house that's on the property, and I mean, yes, some of them are massive, but like even just like the ones that we saw, it's like a modest little home
Yeah.
that's there, and
Yep.
then the barns on the land surrounding it are huge, and there's
Yeah.
multiple of them, and just the upkeep of the animals and the barns and everything, they don't put their
That's their. I mean,
resources into their
some of
home.
the horses are $1 million.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, it depends on it depends on who you got, but yeah, yeah, it's pretty crazy. If you go out toward Paris, we can move on. But if you go out toward Paris, like you get a combination of these massive farms, but also beautiful, massive houses. They have these like stone gates with like massive wrought iron customized like engraved family emblems and stuff.
That's
It's like
crazy.
super
On like the
super
fences.
old money. Oh my god, it's beautiful.
That's wild. Um,
Anyway,
well, it was a definitely fun weekend, and
we had a
cheers
good
to
time.
you and Kelsey. We're happy to celebrate you, and it's gonna be a fun wedding in 2 months. Actually,
Oh
two
boy.
months to the day.
2 months literally. She's texting me right now. She said, babe, 60 days with like 10 exclamation points. 2 months from today. Wow.
Well, but yeah, I mean that's crazy to think about. Time really flies by, but I mean that's definitely gonna be a fun weekend because the 14th the day before your wedding. Obviously, we have your rehearsal dinner, but that's also Christy's birthday, and then
No.
rolling right into your wedding the next day. So it's gonna be fun.
Oh, we're gonna have a blast.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Let's.
We had a good group. Where our group was fun. That was a good ass time, Yvonne.
It's a good ass time, Yvonne. All right. Let's roll this thing back here and let's get into the question of the day because it is a poignant topic as we talked about March Madness, and I want to know who is your projected champion of March Madness.
Kevin, I have multiple brackets.
Everybody should.
My actual projected champion, I feel like you just kind of have to. I feel like you kind of have to pick the Zags. I'm gonna be honest. If you look at the, but I will say right now, my two brackets. One, I got the Illini.
Love it. That's what we like to hear.
And the other is my novelty bracket, and that is my Vols.
Go Vols. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. The Vols are not going to beat Illinois.
Happening. Kofi will eat our lunch. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, it's going to be. I hope, honestly, I really, really hope that the Sweet 16 ends up being Illinois and Tennessee, because
that'd be so much fun.
It's going to be such a fun game just for the two of us and Matt too. It'd be so much fun. I mean, I know before even the season was over, I was sending you mock brackets of like, okay, here's the matchup, here's when we can play, but now it's actually a reality. And I texted you after Illinois was announced to the Midwest region, and I said, all right, Tennessee hasn't gotten called yet. We're halfway through. Who's it going to be? And then they come up as the 5 seed in the same region. I'm like, oh boy,
it's crazy.
Let's get it going.
We've got a tough. Honestly, I think we kind of have a tough bracket.
I think you guys got a terrible draw, to be completely honest, because that first game with Oklahoma State is going to be
Oregon State first.
Oregon State. Sorry, Oregon State.
They're hot.
That is going to be
Oregon State's hot right now.
Yeah, that is going to be, I think, your hardest game outside of getting to us.
Oklahoma State has possibly the projected number 1 pick.
Yeah, Cade is something else. I know the big storyline right now is that everybody's kind of gravitating towards is Cade versus Io, and then also throw in the fact that Brett Underwood, who's the coach of Illinois, was formerly with Oklahoma State. And their fan base is not fond of ours. I'll say that. There's some bad blood there because we stole their coach, and he's clearly doing well. So
yeah, he's doing pretty well.
There's a lot of storylines there.
I will say,
yeah,
we spent some time watching both Tennessee. We beat Florida. It was a good game. Couldn't pull it off against Alabama, and that was another good game. We probably should have won that one, but we watched Illinois, and I already knew this because we kind of watched them. I kind of watched them during the season, just as a passive fan for you. And yeah, the Illini are good. You guys are pretty nuts, honestly.
The Illini are good.
I think projecting them to win is not too far off. That's actually that was the one bracket I actually read through every single matchup in the summaries, and I had the Illini.
Yeah, so I told you this weekend. There's not a single team in the country that I'm afraid of.
That's the most amazing
for the
feeling.
Illini right now. Like it is, Kofi is such a mismatch, and Io is
anyone.
So good,
he's like a Shaq.
Yeah, I mean, he's like I don't even know what to say because I'm so excited. But clearly, as you can tell, I have my Illini going all the way, winning the tournament. I am so confident with this team, and I don't think there's a team that's going to beat us. Our bracket of all the 1 seeds, I think we probably have the easiest route to the Final Four. And I have us facing off against Baylor in the Final Four, and then playing Gonzaga.
Beating Baylor, playing the Zags.
I haven't beating the Zags. The biggest thing about the Zags is, I mean, yes, they're a phenomenal team. They're obviously undefeated. Clear number 1 seed and just overall number 1 in the top 25 because of that. But you have to think, yes, they front load their schedule because of the conference they're in, but then they go 3 months and they play nobodies. So There's always going to be
Maybe.
that question mark until it's okay, go prove it and just go win the games in the tournament. So that's what they're going to be obviously on a mission to do. But there's something to say about Illinois' one, the sheer amount of talent that is on this team, but then the mental fortitude that they have, and they are just absolutely on a mission. I think the fact that
As long as they can keep their mental edge, man, they're pretty unbelievable. The talent's there.
I think there is the best thing. Actually, I'll say the two best things that could have happened for this team was one, Io getting hurt and not playing for about 3 or 4 games at the end of the season. It sucked that he got hurt. I'm glad he's okay and back to playing, and he's just Io's being Io. But it is now everybody's firing on all cylinders, and I think that at least him sitting
Your
out,
role players have now learned how to step up.
yeah, they are now playing at an elite level, and that him not being on the court allowed them to then heat up and get into that groove. I mean, the first game that he was out, Andre Curbelo, he almost had a triple-double. Like, these guys are all stepping up. The kid's a freshman, and he's an absolute magician. And so now everybody is playing so well. They're going to be such a powerhouse in this tournament, and I'm so excited. So I've got them winning.
Depth.
But this right here, this matchup is what I really want to see, the 1-5 Illinois against Tennessee, just for the fact that it's going to be
I would hope that.
it's just going to be so much fun for us to talk about here. But I really think it would be a good matchup because let me tell you, Tennessee is a talented team. And I don't think they can beat Illinois, but I think it'd be a fun game to watch.
It just depends. I've said this all along. I said it to you, but it just depends on who shows up because we have all the talent. I mean, we have like 2 5-star freshmen, a former 5-star sophomore. Yves Pons is the former SEC Player of the Year last year. That kid had 9 blocks against Florida in the SEC tournament. He's 6'6" and can jump higher than 7-footers. It's crazy.
Just because of the elevation that kid gets and how tall he plays. I had no idea he was 6'6" until you told me this weekend. I thought he was at least like 6'8".
He's literally insane. Like we match him up with 7-footers.
He's an athletic beast.
But we don't really have a big man, so I don't know how we would really handle. We have a very good defense, one of the best in the country, but I don't know how you handle Kofi because we don't have anybody that's even close. I mean, we got a 7-footer, but he's on the bench, and he's pretty skinny. He's not 285 like Kofi.
Yeah, it's hard when you've got a guy as tall as Kofi, but then just as muscular and big and just such a presence on the court to go up against. I mean, there are guys in this tournament who can play with him, but when you're looking at Kofi and the game that he had against Iowa in the Big Ten tournament and Luka Garza, National Player of the Year last year, it's realistically he'll probably be it again this year. The fact that he had such a hard time against Kofi and Kofi was able to outplay him and just hold him to, granted, I think he still had 21 points, but I mean, he had to do that with like 21 shots. So he was not efficient at all. I mean, when you're doing that against the best player in the league or in all of college basketball, who's going to stop you?
Yeah.
Because if it's not him, it's not going to be anybody else. And that's what gets me pumped up.
Kofi's insane. Oh, my God. Poor Missouri has to, our friend John's Tigers got if they make it out of the first round, they got to play the Zags in the second round.
I don't even think I have them coming out of the first round. Let's see. I've got them losing to Oklahoma here.
I do just for John.
I thought about it, but
I don't know anything about Oklahoma.
The rivalry between Illinois and Missouri with the bragging rights game, honestly, I kind of just want them to lose. Sorry, John.
And then he turns us off.
All right. So as you can see, I have Illinois winning. I personally think they will beat Gonzaga, and I think it will be Illinois against Gonzaga, and I think it's going to be a absolute shoot house in that one. I feel like it's first to 90 wins. Final score prediction on that one, I have Illinois 91 and Gonzaga 89.
I will say that I'm not sure I knew exactly how good Ohio State was,
They're an
but they were nuts
insanely good
too. And
team.
that Washington kid was, I mean, he was unconscious. Like he was hitting
Dwayne Washington
literally
Jr.
everything.
Had the game of his life against
Oh
us.
yeah, absolutely.
Every pull-up jumper or pull-up three he had went in. I mean, at some point I was like, okay, can you please start missing shots because this is getting ridiculous. I mean,
Oh,
he broke his career scoring record, and I think he had at least 32. I think he ended up having like 35 or something.
yeah.
But yeah, he is a phenomenal player. EJ Liddell on Ohio State is usually the
Mm-hmm.
one who just absolutely plays out of his mind against Illinois. He's
Mm-hmm.
a former Illinois Mr. Basketball, and
Mm.
he's a really good kid. But the Illinois fan base does not like him because he's so good, and he went to Ohio State, and he just always absolutely obliterates Illinois whenever we play him.
Mm.
So the two of them are really good, and yes, I feel like they get a little bit overshadowed in the Big Ten just because of how strong the conference is when you got Illinois and Michigan sitting at the top, and then you got Iowa sitting right there with them. But Ohio State is a very, very talented team, and
I don't know.
I had to make a really tough decision on this Baylor Ohio State Elite Eight matchup, and I kept going back and forth on who I thought was going to win it. And this one honestly could be a toss-up game. I think Ohio State, if their shooters show up, I think Ohio State very well could easily win this game.
Um, I don't know if you know this. I was reading, and I think Michigan have their best player get injured
Uh,
just recently?
yeah, Livers is his name, his last name, and he's one of their best players.
But
I don't
he's
know
injured.
yes, he got hurt. So he's out. He's not playing. So that kind of sucks for Michigan. I don't think I'm necessarily upset by it.
Yeah.
But I mean, the only way we'd play them is in the championship game, which I think would be awesome, absolutely awesome. What's crazy, it shows how powerful the Big Ten is right now. I was going through my bracket, and without even realizing it, I had an All Big Ten Final Four,
Yeah.
and I said, okay, yeah, I can't do that. So I went back. I changed Gonzaga. I thought
I
maybe
think
Iowa
it's easy
could
to
pull it
do
out.
that too when when you mainly watch your conference play
Yeah,
basketball.
that's
Because
a
I'm
good
the
point.
same way. Like, I have Alabama making some waves in the tourney. I mean, granted, they're a 2 seed,
I have them in my
but
Final Four.
watching them, they're pretty good.
They are.
They're pretty good. They got
They're
momentum, won the SEC championship.
I think they could be a dark horse. Even at a 2 seed, I think you could still consider them a dark horse because when you think of Alabama, you don't think of basketball, and the SEC as a whole, I feel like you don't necessarily consider as like a big basketball conference. Obviously, you got
Hmm.
Kentucky in there, who's just funny that they're not in
Yeah.
it this year.
Hmm.
But Kentucky, a perennial powerhouse in basketball. But then it's like, okay, Tennessee's there every couple of years. Alabama's kind of there every couple of years. I mean, then there's, like who else out of
Florida
the SECs that's
sometimes.
really like dominant? I feel like there's not like another
Yeah.
dominant program.
But I will say there's a lot of good coaches now. Like right
Yeah,
now, it's pretty insane. It's probably maybe one of the best like sets of coaches that the SEC has maybe ever had. Lot of talent, and I think honestly we're funneling a lot of football money to the basketball programs because we want to be good at basketball.
yeah. Illinois is a basketball school, and when you go to the SEC, you just think you're always going to try and be a football school. But I think that's an interesting point because if you want to be known for something in the SEC, basketball is not a bad thing to do. Kentucky has clearly done a very good job at it.
Yeah,
So yeah, I know.
it
I know. You got
basketball doesn't make nearly as much money as football does, but
yeah.
I mean, we like to compete. The SEC likes to compete in everything, and we have the money laying around. So I think it's like, let's go hire a good coach. Maybe we'll cheat in this sport too. Oh.
Okay, speaking of cheating, let's talk about Warzone.
Oh my God, yes, that was a great transition. I didn't plan that.
Okay.
Wait, you make your first point. I'm gonna grab some water real quick.
Yeah,
Please
absolutely.
pause.
What I was going to say was that, I mean, Illinois, I think they're going to do so well in the tournament. Obviously, it's going to be really interesting. We're going to be talking about it. There's a whole lot to talk about the entire month of March. The final of the NCAA championship game isn't until I think April 5th. So we've got a couple weeks, and hopefully my Illini are going to make a run there. And I'm really, really hoping that Illinois and Tennessee are going to match up, and we've got some good basketball talk to talk about. So we're going to transition here, get into Warzone. There's quite a bit to talk about here since we last talked. The anniversary of Warzone was last week. I know we talked quite a bit about it possibly being a day for a new map or nuking Verdansk on the 11th.
We were wrong.
We were wrong. Did not happen. I will actually give a big old-fashioned shout-out to Jedice because the guy was correct in saying that he thought the zombies were just like going to go over to prison and it was not going to be anything good and anticlimactic. And I will give him the shout-out there because he was right. I was hoping for more, but it did not come. And they're going to draw this thing out as much as possible, I imagine.
Yes, they are.
And we're not going to get a new map until the end of Season 2. And this is just going to be a long and slow, painful death for Verdansk.
Like, why, though?
Because it's already been over a year. Why not draw it out more?
I don't even understand. I feel like they're just trying to pull more money out of us.
Well, that's Activision's prerogative.
Everybody's already bored of the shipwreck. Like, I haven't even been to prison. I have no interest in going to prison. I don't think maybe they don't realize that, like, I'm not playing Warzone to, like, go fight zombies. Like, I'm going to play Warzone so I can, like, win the game. Like, might drop prison one time to see some zombies and get some decent loot. Like, I'd much rather drop at Boneyard and go fight some people.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
if you're drawing this out the whole time, how long can we do this?
Yeah, I think it's going to get more frustrating than anything just to have random zombies attacking you.
Right?
I think that was where Fortnite lost a lot of people when they introduced the zombies into Fortnite because that I feel like was just kind of more of an annoyance than it was anything.
Yeah.
So, yeah. For me, I personally feel like it's a terrible idea to draw this out until the end of Season 2. Season 2, I don't know the exact date that it's over, but, I mean, we still have like 35 days or something. So, yeah, not great. Later in April will likely be when we get the new map, hopefully. But, I mean, the stuff that they're releasing, while slow, it is confirming the fact that we are going to get a new map. And the theory that we had talked about, which is now obviously widely open and discussed about Verdansk and how it's going to end, it is correct. Zombies are infiltrating the map, and it's going to get nuked. We just don't know when. And I feel like we've been saying that on repeat. We just, like, we know something's going to happen, but we don't know when. So would love some more transparency from Activision or Raven on just some timelines because I think that will help everybody to get even more excited because right now we're just kind of in that dead period between, okay, we know something's coming or not entirely sure when it's happening. We're excited for it.
We got to do a whole cutscene for a week about a ship landing on the shore and then the ship is still there and there were zombies on the ship.
And they got bored at the ship and went to the prison.
Yeah. That's been 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean...
You could have done that once a day.
Yeah.
Like, all right, zombies go to... Oh, they're already at prison. Oh, my God, they're going to farmland.
Well, what was crazy to me was when that video got released of, like, the chopper footage and the news. I
thought it'd be so much quicker because it was all happening at once.
Wasn't that like a whole week before the zombies even officially showed up at prison? It's like they waited so long. I don't know why they did that. I don't think it's going to change either.
The chopper.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was the video that Call of Duty, like their official Twitter account had released, and it was like, oh, we're live with channel whatever news, and zombies are leaving the ship, and I figured that day zombies would start leaving the ship, but no, it was like a whole week before they even did anything.
Literally
So
a week.
yeah,
It's
Activision
like I've like lost interest.
Activision is moving very slowly, and
Oh
I
my
think
god.
everybody has been ready for this new map for months, and it's taking too long.
It's very long. Well, we gonna see.
We gonna see. But we brought up the cheaters.
Anyway, yeah.
Tennessee cheating. Haha. But the cheaters right now are just absolutely running rampant in Warzone. And I think Season 2 has really brought with it a whole hell of a lot of cheaters, and Activision just needs to continue to do ban
With the
waves.
glitches too.
Yeah, I mean, the glitches are back. The stim glitch is back for what, the 7th time now?
95th time.
It seems like it. So that is fun. Who knows when that's going to get fixed? What's really interesting is that the cheaters now, I'm sure most of you have seen by now, they're able to end games abruptly without actually even games ending. I think the perfect visualization of this was Joe Woe tweeted a clip out, and he was, I think, in the pregame lobby, and it had like the plane had just taken off, and he was like in that initial cutscene, and then he was flying down to Superstore, and the game ended. It went to the final kill cam, and then I think what sounded like all 150 players in the game were talking in game chat, and were like, "What the hell is going on?" And he was like,
"Show the winners."
It said you placed first, so it gave
for everybody.
It gave everybody in the lobby a win.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So they're ending games, which is then in turn giving everybody who's still alive a win, and they're doing it while everyone's still falling. So pretty much everybody's just getting free wins out of it, which I think is kind of funny, but also why? So they're just at this point now, they're just trying to see what they can do to screw with the game, and they're doing a good job with it because they're also now able to make store purchases without any COD points, and they can do it for like unreleased things. There was a clip that was tweeted at Modern Warzone today, and they were talking about the soap skin being spotted in Verdansk, which is not a released skin. And the guy whose clip it was, he tweeted out, and he was like, "Hey, here's like the actual full thing," and it was the guy showed him in the kill cam. The guy was cheating, like he had aimbot, and absolutely just obliterated this kid. And it was, you could see as he was killing him, because he was right up close to him, that it was soap. And it's like, okay, where did that come from? Because you can't get that skin. And it was very clearly by the clip, very clearly a cheater. And so they're just running wild right now. And the game ending clip, that apparently has been fixed. Raven said today that they released a patch to fix that. But I would imagine they are very frantically trying to find a fix for these hacks now that they can get anything out of the store, because if Activision will do anything, it is protect their money. And if they're not getting money from the store, then they have a problem. I can't hear you right now. Matt's got an audio issue, as usual. We'll be right back. All right, okay. Technical difficulty resolved. What I was saying, though, is if Activision will do anything, it's protect their money. And they probably are very worried about the fact that they could be bleeding money from the store if hackers, knowing how many there are, which if they're going to fix these issues that quick, they're obviously aware of how many there are. They're not going to be making money like they usually do. So that's going to be a problem for them.
Priority number 1, baby.
Save our money.
Save it, baby, save it.
All right. Well, like we said, cheaters all over the place. It's a problem. It still is. It always has been. I don't think there's ever going to be an anti-cheat, at least an effective one. So
I feel like they would have to completely redevelop the game, like build it from the ground up, if they were to be able to do an anti-cheat. I think that's why it's so difficult, because I don't think it's something. I feel like it's something to do with the engine.
Yeah, that very well could be the case. And I mean, from some of the things that I've read, it sounds like, I know everybody is really asking for it and begging for an anti-cheat, but it sounds like it's a little bit harder to actually do and implement than you might think. So I think you're probably onto something there. But as I know, we were talking about the store, so we've got some more reactive camos and Mastercraft camos that are coming out. The one that was released, I think today, it might be in the store now. I'm not exactly sure. There is a Mastercraft, or it's one of the Mastercrafts for the Krig, and it's actually really cool. It's a dragon, and it actually looks like the dragon gun skin from Valorant. And I like it a lot, actually. It kind of looks like the ice dragon from Game of Thrones. Which is pretty neat. Which is pretty cool. So they've always, for me personally, I feel like they've always done a good job with the Mastercrafts, at least for the short amount of time they've been putting them out. And it's great to see that there are more reactive camos coming out. So the AUG is actually getting a reactive camo.
The AUG ski.
So that's going to be cool. I'm excited to see what it looks like. Haven't seen it. We just know that it's coming. So I think that is very telling, the fact that the AUG is here to stay, because why would they be releasing a reactive camo, something that everybody wants to get, if the gun is going to get nerfed and not be usable? So you saw the reactive camo with the FFAR, which a ton of people got, and they said, okay, well, if everybody wants that, why not give it to the other gun that's in the meta, or that most people are using? We'll slap a reactive camo on the AUG, get people to purchase that, and double our money.
What do you think is next after that?
Who knows? Maybe I feel like the Mac 10 needs a good reactive camo.
Yeah.
There's
I don't know how I missed that reactive camo for the FFAR. Was that just in the store?
Yeah, I think it's still in there. It's like the Dead Ops arcade one. It's really cool. I didn't buy it, but I've picked it up a couple times. And when you start racking up kills with that thing, it is just lighting up like crazy.
Cool.
All the content creators use it, and you can. It's really cool. It'll be easy to find if you actually look for it in some of the like stuff on YouTube and Twitch streams.
The Krig. I'm wondering if they are going to buff the Krig a little bit.
I would imagine. So that was something that I saw getting talked about, because I mean the Krig is one of the best ARs in Cold War. So it would make sense for them to make it better in Warzone, especially with this cool Mastercraft camo coming out. It to me, like, why put work into something like into a gun like that if it's not really something that anybody would use? Like, I would be willing to bet that FFAR Dead Ops Arcade reactive camo, for the timing of how good that gun is and just how cool the camo is, I'd be willing to bet that probably set a record for like store purchases, or at least got close to it. And I'll bet the AUG will probably do the same. I mean, there are many people, we've talked about it before, saying Call of Duty needs to reintroduce reactive camos. And now that they've done that, I feel like every one that they put out there, people are going to buy. And like more people than who would usually buy one. Yep. So
I think that's fair.
Yeah, it's a really cool thing and a really cool addition to the game. So I'm glad that they did it.
Make some money, my man.
You know, and here's me still trying to get myself excited over the fact that maybe I'll get Dark Ether, maybe I won't. I got excited last week about it, didn't happen.
You could just buy the reactive camo.
Yeah, but I
That's
mean,
what they want you to do.
Technically, Dark Ether's not a reactive camo though.
I know.
So
it's a cool camo.
It is cool. The only problem is that with how terrible the mastery camos look in the game, I'm like, okay, is it really even gonna look any good? Like the Cold War camos just suck. So
Yeah.
I hope they fix them because, like, come on, how can you have gold covering up an eighth of your gun?
Just an eighth.
What are you doing?
I don't know. I'm tired. My eyes are still trying to adjust. Trying to see you right now.
Oh goodness.
Long day.
Happy
day. Monday.
All right. Well, we very clearly have a case of the Mondays, so we're gonna wrap this up a little bit. It was a fun weekend, and we're gonna hopefully have some more fun Warzone things to talk about as the zombies spread across the map, and very much so gonna have some good March Madness things to talk about. So, what are you
Balls
gonna say?
play on Friday. Illini play on Friday. Go Vols, go Illini. I'm actually free this weekend, so I feel like I haven't had a lot to talk about with Warzone because I really have been too busy. So hopefully this weekend I'll get a lot of time to play some Warzone.
Bang bang! Heard it here
We
first.
have more to talk about on Monday.
So we are gonna sign off. Twitch.tv/the Joystick Chronicles. Come hang out with us when we're live, and you can find out when we're live by following us on Twitter because we tweet about it all the time. At the Joystick Pod on Twitter and TikTok, and you can catch all of our live episodes back after they have aired on YouTube at the Joystick Chronicles. So check us out. We're all over the place.
Follow us, subscribe, please.
And if you're listening
rate
on the
us,
podcast,
review us.
Rate us and review us. We would very much appreciate it. And we will catch you guys in the next episode of the Joystick Chronicles.
Bye, guys.